I'm just excited to be with our guys here. Eric Brewski, Hall of Famer Steve Alexander. I'm Rick Kamla. We're the GOATs. We're the OGs. We invented and popularized what you love so much, fantasy basketball. It's us. We're the founding fathers. You're in the right spot. Nobody better at providing you fantasy basketball analysis. And you know what? Frankly, having a damn good time. It is Brew, it is Doc, it is Cam. Fellas, I see you. It is awesome to be back, the three-headed monster. How we all doing today?
Oh, I'm loving it. I'm having fun. Playoffs are good, man. How could they not be good? I mean, it is just this whole thing's been so spectacular. I feel like maybe we're due for a letdown because every single game's been great. But yeah, loving it and loving this time of year.
Doc, any opening salvo? Anything?
No, he's just sitting there.
Are you ready for a Pacers World Championship?
Oh, yeah.
There we go. See,
Yeah.
see,
I
pithy
just wanted to say
remarks.
something
That's
generic, and Doc just comes in with a haymaker. Did you predict that? Did you predict the Pacers?
I on my ESPN bet column, I said to bet the Pacers to beat the Cavaliers. That was even before I knew Darius wasn't going to play. So
I do believe that's a prediction, though, right?
it's only 1-0. It's very early in the process, but good start for the Pacers, man. Good start for the Pacers. You know, it's crazy that this little overrated poll that they did has gotten Tyrese Halliburton and his dad and the Pacers and Rick Carlisle so fired up.
And Doc Gay.
I think if they would have known that that was going to have that effect, they probably would not have voted Tyrese Halliburton most overrated player.
Yeah, it's a badge he's carrying with him. Go ahead, Brew.
No, I got nothing. I mean, it's good to see because I mean he's disappeared at times. You know, he disappeared early in the season. It was a lot injury driven, but you know you could tell he was in his head, and you know the team kind of came to his aid, and then they worked through it. And Pops is out there doing Pop stuff, and that's all sorts of interesting. And yeah, no, he's out of the building now. Interesting. Did you guys see the segment? We went on local news, and he sort of explained himself.
Yeah.
I didn't see that, but I saw something on Twitter where he did explain himself. And I'll just say this. I think the Pacers and the NBA made a mistake. I don't think you ban him. Maybe for a game, ban him for the rest of the playoffs. I thought was way too strong because I don't know. Like Halliburton called him out at the press conference. To me, that's where you knew, all right, they've talked about it. This is not going to happen again. Right? You don't need to bang on the guy for the whole playoffs, man. I thought that was too strong.
Yeah, my thought was, is there something else we don't know? You know, because it was so strong.
Good point. Yeah, like maybe there's been other stuff that, and this was like the I don't know, the straw that broke the camel's back. I don't know. I don't want to do his dad like that. This is what we've seen. This is the visibility that we've had on it. And just with that incident alone, to ban him, I thought was way too extreme. But I'm a liberal guy that way. Hey, let's talk to you guys about Bet Online. They are the best. All right. It is time to head to the track. Now, the Kentucky Derby was last weekend, but the other races will be coming up here, leg 2, leg 3 of the Triple Crown. All the betting you want on that. BetOnline's the world's most trusted betting platform, your number one source for all of the horse racing and sports betting action. They have the largest selection of odds and everything from the NBA and the NHL playoffs, MLB, UFC, boxing, all that stuff, man. BetOnline has you covered for all your online wagering info. In between games, head over to BetOnline Casino, where they have all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. And BetOnline, the game starts here. Fellas, our show today is in another rundown. I need to go too.
Let's go.
Rick, it's funny when you said let's go to the track. You know, I'm from Indianapolis, and it's the month of May right now, so that means Indy 500. But if you live in Louisville, it means let's go to Churchill Downs. And if you live in Florida, where you live, it means let's go to Daytona. So it all depends on where you live as to what let's go to the track means.
I like it. In Minneapolis, it's Canterbury Downs. My good buddy Paul Allen. You know the voice of the Vikings? You know that guy?
Yeah, we're friends.
Oh, you're friends with PA. Okay, probably from some fantasy. He's the track announcer. He's the track announcer at Canterbury Downs. This guy is like talent on talent on talent. He's like Jamie Foxx talented. All right, let's get into, guys, the best fantasy basketball third-year players of this 24-25 season. We're going to look at, was the season a success or disappointment, and what do we expect from them next season? These are guys drafted in 2022, and it's an 8 cat per game ranking. So let's get into the list here. Brew, you first. Dyson Daniels came into the year with an ADP of 136, came out with a ranking of 23rd. Was the season a disappointment or success? I feel kind of dumb asking that, but that's the bit here. And do you expect more from him next season?
I like the fact that Brew's going first here, because Rick and I have already discussed this in depth, and we are at like kind of opposite ends of the spectrum, and I really can't wait to see where Brew is here.
Oh, crap. So one of you thought he was a failure. That's great.
No,
Dyson Daniels was a complete
definitely
failure.
Not. It's more about the next season ranking. That's kind of
where
what
do we draft him
about
next year?
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, it's spicy. It's an exciting topic. I mean, it's crazy that Atlanta had two of these guys. You know, Jalen Johnson was off the board in fantasy leagues the year prior. And so, you know, I was able to enjoy that because we drafted him everywhere. And, you know, he just kind of popped on it and did something similar here, although Kyle Kuzma made it not quite as good. Obligatory reference. Dyson Daniels, the fact that he can go from 136 to 23, that is just an absurd jump. And I talked about it on our Brewski 150 review show. I feel like I wasn't as high as I would have liked to have been on Dyson Daniels while I was kind of in the pack. I felt like in order to get a player like this, you need to be ahead of the pack. I wasn't there. I didn't think the offense would be there. I didn't think the focus on him having the ball in his hands would be there. And then this historic steal thing. I kind of think he just found a hack. Like, you know, this guy, you know, when we talk about this upcoming season, this is going to be one of the reasons I'm going to be fairly bullish on this guy. He studies the game at such a high level. I've heard him talk about his defensive approach, and he is absolutely just, it feels like he's just reading into strategy that other guys aren't. Yeah, he's looking at like different actions, and he's like, well, how can I manufacture a steal? But he's doing it in different ways that folks haven't been doing it. And maybe this is a reflection of the direction the game's traveled, and he's been able to figure that out faster than anybody else. The steals and deflections difference between him and the next guys is just so crazy. At any rate, offensively, he has game. He can go right. He could go left. Right now, he can't finish. But I think once he gets that part figured out and he gets the jumper figured out, we're really going to be looking at one of the league's better players here. How it all comes together in Atlanta, we're going to have to see how the offseason looks. I don't think it's a given that he gets there, and I think that there will be hype on him that's going to make this profit margin kind of thin. So it could be the same thing as Jalen Johnson, where Jalen Johnson was drafted super high this year. A lot of injury risk built in there for a young guy, and then it hit, and then, you know, people didn't get paid off. So I'm encouraged, but at the same time, you know, there are some risks here.
I feel like we talked a lot about Dyson Daniels. Like he's probably going to be on my list of guys, and I'm probably going to take him in the second or third round of fantasy drafts next year. And that's probably going to be frowned upon because the risk outweighs the reward at that point, et cetera, et cetera. But listen, I want to read this quote. After Dyson Daniels won the most improved player in the league award, he said, I really believe I could win this award again, as in next year. I've got so much more left in me. Next year, it's all about taking that next step and setting new goals. I want to be an all-star, and I want to be a championship player. Like, that's the dude that I want on my fantasy team. He's going to play in every game. He's going to get better this offseason. He's going to be better next year. Like, I love Dyson Daniels, and the hype is going to be super high. You're going to have to reach a little bit to get him, and whether that pays off or not remains to be seen. But I love everything about this kid.
All right, well, I want to hear what Rick has to say.
Well, I'm going to be the voice of reason about Dyson Daniels because I love him, okay? But I'm realistic about him. Second round is not a hell no. It's a stronger expletive no. To me, you can't deny a 25, 28 point per game scorer to take a Dyson Daniels in the second round because of one category. It's not the way to go. In the second round, you've got to get a guy that checks this box, this box, this box, this box, this box. Hopefully they can check 6 boxes, right? The defense, the threes, the PRA. You guys don't know, I don't care about the percentages. I just want the counting numbers boxes checked. So Dyson Daniels in the 3rd round on my radar, I guess. It still feels a little bit too high for me. And this is where the voice of reason, the reality check comes in. Reece Shea is only going to get better, more minutes, more shots, more effectiveness. Jalen Johnson's going to be back. You have Trae Young. You have a Kongwu who was fully unleashed, and we loved what we saw from him. So you could actually see Dyson Daniels become the 5th option out of that group. If he's the 5th option, he goes from 14 a game down to 10 a game. And now, I don't know, like, I see downside. I don't see upside with Dyson Daniels. And it's not anything with him. It's about team construction. Like you just, as I explained, I think there's downside for him with points and with assists because I think usage rate's going to be down. Jalen Johnson's the number 2 on this team, guys. Clear cut. He's a 20, 10, and 5 guy. And so Dyson's going to have to get in where he fits in with Jalen and Trae.
Yeah. Is Jalen going to play more than 40 games next year?
I mean, you got me there, but theoretically, if he plays a full season, then, that's where we're at.
I don't think he's going to score 10 points a game. I think Dyson Daniels is probably at 14 no matter what. But here's the kicker with that. If he's there, is he getting you the steals? And I think the hype on Dyson Daniels is because of the steals, right?
No doubt.
I mean, people are seeing these defensive numbers and then they get everything else, and that's icing on the top of the cake. Or they go to a ranking site and they see, oh, he's ranked 23. Well, guess what? If he's not getting historic levels of steals, he's ranked 50 or something, or 40. He's not at that level. So it'll be real interesting to see how everything morphs in Atlanta if he becomes a scorer at the expense of some steals or vice versa or whatever happens. Or they bring in somebody else and it changes the dynamic of the team. I think everything was perfect in Atlanta for him right now. And it's hard to improve on perfect.
It certainly is. I right now he is the number 1 hot button guy for me, and I think Doc and Brew. We haven't looked at the whole bar. I just based on doing these shows with you guys, it seems like he is going to be a polarizing and really fun to talk about player.
Him and Josh Giddey, I think, are the big 2 right now, and maybe Wembanyama as well. So, Brew, where are you taking Dyson Daniels? Like what round would you be happy to see him sitting there?
Happy, probably round 3, because I don't think he's getting around 3. Like I think he will be taken in round 2.
Would you pull the trigger on a round 2 Dyson Daniels pick?
I'll probably say just no right now. There's a lot of great fantasy players, and round 2 is full of gold. That's a pick that almost always determines fantasy leagues. It's 2, 3, and 4. Mm-hmm. 1 as well.
I could see me taking him in round 2, but I really want him in round 3. Like I don't want to reach for if you get the last pick in round 2, it makes a lot more sense for Dyson than it does if you have the 2nd pick in round 2.
Good point.
But I would rather take him in round 3. But I think Bruce right, man. I think by the time we're done talking about this for the next
he's got a fan club too. He's got a big
for the next 5 months. The hype train is going to be off the tracks.
Look, I agree with Andre Lamouche, our buddy, our family member, our producer.
The algorithm.
Algorithm Andre. He says Dyson will be a solid round 4 value. I completely agree with that. I'm not even comfortable with round 3 for Dyson Daniels. I'm just not. Because you guys know how addicted I am to block, steals, and threes, right? So I'm always getting steals. And I'm not saying I win it like every week. I'm just saying like that's always a category that I'm looking to fill with every single pick that I make. So I don't, you know what I mean? Oh, I missed out on the guy that had 3 steals per game. Okay, cool. I still feel like, and by the way, that's one opponent has that guy in head-to-head leagues, right? You only have to play that guy probably twice all year, and then you're down with everybody else with the 1.5, 1.7, 1.8, 1.3 guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, head-to-head, the discussion gets really unfavorable for Dyson real quick because of that right there.
Good point, man. All right, so let's move on here, fellas, and everybody watching. We love you all out there. It's Rick Hamlet, it's Aaron Brewski, it's Hall of Famer Steve Alexander. We're the OGs, we're the GOATs. We are the Fantasy NBA today. And whether Andre likes it or not, he's in this with us, and he's the best producer in the game. He hates it when we talk about him. That's why I love to talk about him. So let's get to Jalen Williams here. Doc's favorite player. Where's the jersey? Where's the poster? Where are the shoes, Doc? He came in with an ADP of 36. It was pretty static with that. Came out with a ranking of 29. This is based on 8 cat per game rankings. We don't do turnovers over here because turnovers absolutely suck. It's a worthless fantasy category. You should all stop playing with turnovers. So Jalen Williams, obviously really, really solid. Doc, because he's your guy. Doc called him Scottie Pippen 2.0. Brew and I had to go off on Doc for that. Or he said somebody's better than Scottie Pippen. He made some kind of comment like that. So me and Doc got a whole thing with J-Dub. But season of disappointment or success, and what do you look for next season from him?
I mean, this kid's a stud, man. It was a success. To me, the only part of it that wasn't a success is he only made it through 69 games. I wanted 79. But 32 minutes, 22 points. He fills up the stat sheet every night. Going into drafts last year, all I kept saying was, I want all the Jalens. I want Jalen Brunson. I want Jalen Williams. I want Jalen Johnson. I want all the Jalens. And if you got all the Jalens, or if you got that Jalen, you did very well. And as far as Scottie Pippen goes, all I'm saying, man, is if Jalen didn't have to play in the shadow of SGA and had his own thing, like that dude would have been on the Wizards this year. Yeah, he would be the talk of the league. He has so much untapped potential because playing in the shadow of SGA that we haven't even seen it yet. Like he might be he is one of the best players in the entire league. I'm convinced. So I love Jalen. Total success. It's going to be a fun ride for the next 10 years.
I got nothing to add. I mean, he got crowded out a little bit. I mean, we can say that he didn't emerge as the top 12 per game guy that we really think, and I feel like I can almost say we know he can be that. He is that good. He is so big. Like, he's just skilled, quick, and big. And if he ever gets a number one job, he's going to look like Shea out there. And so it is what it is. There's so many good players in OKC. They did not need to play in the fourth quarter of probably 60% of their games. It just didn't pan out the way that folks, I think when you drafted Jalen Williams, you said, damn, I got a good player. I got a first round guy. And then it just didn't happen. And you got him at ADP more or less, so it wasn't a failure, but it just didn't hit the way that we wanted it to.
So he was a first round guy. What would you guys say? The first half of the season? Like he was at 8, 9. There were moments like he wasn't too far behind Shea, tracking, the analytical fantasy rankings. And that was impressive stuff. And then again, because me and Doc got this little funny thing about J-Dub, I was kind of chiding him as, it went from like 25, 5-5 to like 18, 4-4 and some of that kind of stuff. And so the value dipped. I mean, look, the season was a success. He was an all-star. I think should have gotten more love for most improved. Yeah, I take that back. His point per game increase was not good enough. Daniels, Zoo, and Cade, I thought were very appropriate final 3 for that category. The improvements that Zubac's made, just thought bubble, were incredible. Incredible. Like became a different guy. But anyway, back to our story here with J-Dub. What I'm looking for next year, guys, I want a little more. I want another little, I'm not saying get to 25. That's unrealistic, right? Like just one more point per game, like a half a board, a half a dime. You know what I mean? Just like keep taking it up. Don't plateau. Don't come back. Because the second half of this year, Brew, I think blowouts were a factor. He had that little injury or whatever it was. And you have all these other guys that kind of need playing time, and you're smacking teams by 20. And so, you go to the Joes and the Wallaces, and these guys are studs, and the Wiggins. So I want to see just a little bit of an uptick, and I'm actually, frankly, anticipating it. Not huge, not significant, but just a little bit of an uptick.
Well, even real quick, the Chet stuff could have impacted him because now we're getting Chet back into the rhythm, becomes a priority. And then also, if Shea wins the MVP, it really does feel like this team is trying to win MVP for Shea. It's like a team award almost. If that thing if that's won this year, you might see the whole Cleveland effect where Donovan Mitchell says, you know what, I need everybody else to be really good and I'll take a back seat. Shea does that. J-Dub comes in.
I love the Chet point. Okay, so that's an outstanding point because Doc, you tell me, did his dip, and Brew, you tell me, did his dip perfectly coincide with Chet coming back? I feel like there might have been like a little bit of a dip, and then it maybe got worse when Chet was there. But like, I don't know about you guys, but I don't build into my calculations, Chet's only going to play 55 games next year because he's an injury-prone guy. I assume that everybody's going to be healthy and you play it straight, like, because you want to know the lanes and all that kind of stuff. That's just how I do it. You guys blow me out of the water if you do it differently. But like, maybe this is the new J-Dub. Maybe we're going to be overrating J-Dub because Chet came in late and was sort of, like you said, Brew, I mean, it was just a phenomenal point by you, something that I hadn't even considered. And so maybe a lot of other people haven't considered that. And so maybe J-Dub's going to be overdrafted next year because of the Chet thing.
It's hard to say. I mean, you look at it, you say, okay, no Chet, that could have helped. That could have helped. Then he comes back and maybe too much of the emphasis was on Chet. You got a Chet and Hartenstein issue. Can they play together? Of course they can, but you got to figure it out. And then, it's a tough one. I could see the case for him to go big, and I could see the case for him to be a little bit overrated.
I have two more things on J-Dub real quick. One is in Yahoo leagues, whoever's in charge of position designation for them, I hope they sleep this summer and forget that they've got him at shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and center. Like, that was massive. That you could play J-Dub at center in a Yahoo league was almost criminal. And he was playing a lot of center because Hartenstein and Chet were both out for a while. So J-Dub was their starting center. And also I can't tell you exactly what his injury was because I haven't looked it up and I forget. But it took him a while to come back and get back in the groove from that. So part of it was Chet, part of it was the injury, part of it was just being on the best team in the league that is too deep for its own good almost. But man, I love J-Dub, and I'm not scared. I want him on every team again next year.
Let me really stir the pot here. You have a pick mid-third round. Dyson Daniels and J-Dub are on the board. Who are you taking?
That's going to be
this just got existential.
That's going to be a come to Jesus moment for me right there. Like, Lord,
that's why I ask.
I don't know. I think
what are you picking between children? Make a pick.
Well, this is what's funny is it actually literally comes down to my other teams that I've already drafted. Do I have Jalen Williams in 3 of those? I'm going Dyson. Do I have Dyson in 3 of those? I'm going Jalen. It depends on who I need some more of.
Interesting. It's for me, it's J-Dub all day to Sunday, and the 8th day of the week that doesn't exist. I'm J-Dub over Dyson. I'm a PRA. I can't do the one. I can't do the specialist in the 3rd round. I'm sorry. I need a guy that's the box score loves J-Dub.
You keep saying you're a PRA guy, and then you go back and say I'm a steals, blocks, and threes guy. What guy are you, bro?
I'm a counting numbers guy.
6 of 8 categories guy. Damn it!
I'm a counting numbers guy.
I'm anything but turnovers and field goal percentage guy.
I'm a counting numbers guy. I do appreciate the ball.
You got a soft spot for free throw percentage. Okay.
I do not. It all comes out in the wash, man. Oh my God. So Brew. J-Dub or Dyson?
Yeah, I gotta take J-Dub. It's the fact that J-Dub could theoretically be like a top say 7 player in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Just to throw a random number out there. He's that good.
I like it. That's why I always take Juan Soto high in baseball leagues, because he's kind of sucked so far, but he might have that goosh year. You know what I mean? That just monster crazy year. Vlad Guerrero is another guy that way. You just draft him and hope he has that explosion. All right, we talk basketball over here. Go ahead.
My baseball teams are going off. Just FYI.
Atención.
Did you get another win last week playing the crying strategy, Doc? Is that how you won the game last week?
I didn't know the guy I was playing against, so I couldn't cry to him. It sucks. I'm like, who am I playing?
Hey guys, I'm trying the crying strategy out right now. I just don't know if it's going to work. I don't think it works in the playoffs. I don't think it works with Coach of the Year awards. But I'm crying. I'm crying right now because there's no way JB wins tonight.
There's
no way.
There you go. Keep talking like that.
There's
Keep
no
talking like that.
freaking way that he wins.
Congratulations,
because voters want to cozy up to the Cleveland Cavaliers thinking it's a dynasty, and they can't even get past the Pacers.
And put a little hot sauce on that brew, all right? Because Doc puts hot sauce on his. You gotta get more whiny. You got to get a little bit more whiny about the crying strategy.
I don't know. I think people might argue that I'm plenty whiny about it. Anytime something happens good with JB, I will point it out. And anything that's questionable with the Cleveland Cavaliers, I'll point that out too.
Oh my God, Brew, we wish you luck, dude. We're all in your corner on this, man.
Hey, we're gonna find out today, right?
Seriously,
today or today,
and people are gonna vote for the guy with an all-star team and Evan Mobley running around doing Evan Mobley things. You got freaking DeAndre Hunter as your 9th man.
Look, I hear you, brother. I hear you. I thought Beasley was the 6th man over Pritchard, man. I thought he was.
They were a missed call away from going to Game 7 in New York in Madison Square Garden with a team full of people nobody wanted. Nobody wanted Dennis Schroeder. Nobody wanted Tobias Harris. Nobody wanted Tim Hardaway Jr. Nobody wanted Malik Beasley. These players came together and they did the definition of the coaching job is to bring a bad team,
misfit toys,
into that, which was competitive.
I love this, Brew. I love this 11th hour lobbying. I'm not sure how
the votes have already happened. That's the problem, I think. Like the votes have already happened, right? They happened 3 weeks ago.
The envelope is sealed, bro. They're just waiting to open
envelope. But you know what? I found that there's 100 voters.
Bryce Waters' house.
If it was like the top 20 or something, I was like, okay, yeah, those guys definitely want to cozy up to old Kenny Atkinson. But with 100, could happen.
All right, who's next? Who's next? I want to fight.
Look at Doc's getting going here. All right, Chet Holmgren is next. It is Cam, it is Doc, it is Brew. We are the Fantasy NBA today, and we are talking about 3rd-year players, the fantasy season that was a success or disappointment, and we're looking ahead to next year as well. So we go from OKC to OKC. Chet Holmgren came in with an ADP of 18, came out with an ADP of 51. So let's see here. I think I went to Doc first. Brew, you go first here with Chet. Disappointment or success, and then take me to next year for a man named Chet.
Look, let's filter out the injury. Obviously, that's bad, so that didn't work out well for people. But I thought after he returned, it was not as good as folks would have liked. It was inconsistent. There was probably too many guardrails on him for it to work out. So if you held him, injury, IR spot maybe helped you out a little bit. But a lot of folks made a bid on Chet. And real quick, he's in his 2nd season. We're calling him in his 3rd season because of organization. But Chet, if you held or if you made a significant play, I did this in one league. I saw Chet hit the waiver wire. I made a big old bid, hung out, and had him on the bench all season. And then when he got back, giving me top 50 value is just not cutting it for that level of a commitment to him. So, I see a finger up. What's up with Doc? Oh, he's watching TV.
I'm working my remote control, bro.
Oh, yeah. You keep doing that over there. I would say it's a disappointment, and I kind of want to see more out of him in these playoffs.
I'm going to agree. Disappointment. He went from 82 games to 32 games. Scoring was down a little bit. Rebounding was the same. The blocks were nice. Steals were below 1. I tell you what, I have gone from being a Chet all the way guy to if Chet's there in the 4th or 5th round and I need a big man, I'll take him. But I don't think he's going to be on my list anymore. And it part of that is the OKC factor. It's just like Jalen Williams. There's so many good players and there's so much depth in OKC that it makes it hard for guys to shine every night because someone is different is always stepping up and shining. We saw Lou Dort look like an all-star at times. We saw Isaiah Joe look like the best scorer in the league at times. We see Isaiah Hartenstein crowding what Chet's trying to do. And it is what it is. I love Chet. I have no problem with drafting Chet. I'm just not nearly as excited about Chet as I was 2 years ago.
I'm surprised by that. I am. I know you've been a big Chet guy. I had a crazy thought bubble as Doc was talking there and kind of breaking down OKC. To think last year, Josh Giddey was on that team, just last year, and how much different they are now without Josh Giddey. And they've kind of like gone from, that star level type to just a bunch of dudes, right? The Kaysons, the Wiggins, the Carusos, the Isaiah Joes. And they probably have the best cast of others in the NBA. One of the reasons why a lot of us are picking them. All right, so I kind of disagree with you guys. I thought this season was a success for Chet Holmgren because I figured, I forget what injury he was coming off of now. What did he do?
Slammed his hip into the ground.
Oh, it was the hip deal. All right, so I thought he was going to miss more games. He only played 32, but I don't know. I guess when he returned, it was sooner than I had estimated preseason. So that to me is not a huge win, but it's, I guess, a minor win. And yes, the stats like down 1.5 points per game. Rebounds were the same, down a little bit in assists, up a little bit in steals. The blocks were about the same, 2.3, 2.2. The three ball was 1.6, 1.4. Like, I can work with all of this. We didn't get an improvement. His minutes were down 2 per game as well. We didn't get an improvement from Chet, but I don't feel like we got like a huge drop-off. Maybe like a little bit of a drop-off. I don't know, guys. Maybe it's because I'm also in a good mood today. I'm on the air with Doc and Brew. But I say his season was a success because, and again, the games played is a little light, but the stats are right about where they were the year before, even down 2 minutes per game. And he's back and healthy for OKC. So I'm kind of glass half full on his season.
You did see in the stats the impact of Isaiah Hartenstein, just flat out, like the percentages going down, the blocks going somewhat down, assists going down, like it just was right. You just had to assume that Hartenstein would have some kind of an impact here. It happened. It is what it is. They'll play that way next year. And what I want to see out of Chet is, can he start to get a better handle? Can he become a better basketball player overall? Because then we'll start to see how many levels he has. If the whole thing clears out, he's an amazing fantasy player. A first round potential guy.
It's also, you have to take what I say with a grain of salt, because just because I'm not like super fired up about drafting Chet, it probably means I'm thinking rationally about him instead of irrationally like I do all the guys on my list. Because it's like, oh, Chet's on my list. I love him. I'll take him in the 2nd round. I don't give a shit. But now I'm like, well, I like Chet, but I don't love him. So I will take him probably where he's supposed to be drafted.
You want a rational? I just put in a $308 fob bid for Sam Howell in a IDP Dynasty NFL league. Sam Howell.
Irrational on multiple levels, sir.
The backup quarterback to J.J. McCarthy with the Minnesota Vikings. And
308?
308. I might need 5 to get him. But you know what? I'm a guy. I bleed my fob pretty early. Like, if I got a guy, I'm hot on a guy, I don't want anybody else having that guy. I know that sounded weird, pause. But a player, I should say. And so And so when I want him, I go get him. And it's a 2-quarterback league, and I'm still a little bit I'm like one player. I want one more little depth insulation layer at QB. So I'm gonna pay up for it and get my guy. And I'm a Sam Howell guy. And I dropped him because he was 3rd string, and then like 2 days later he got fucking traded. So I'm like, I want to make that right and get him back.
Two QB leagues are a completely different animal. Like quarterback valuation becomes it's you don't even recognize it if you're used to one quarterback league. So yeah, you gotta pay for those guys, man.
Like Pat Mahomes is a borderline starter in a single quarterback league right now, coming off of last year. It's a little bit hyperbolic, but it's not that far off. 2 QB leagues are definitely the way to go. All right, Mark Williams is next up. ADP of 102, came out with a value of 56, 8 cat per game. It is Cam, it is Brew, it is Doc with the Fantasy NBA today. Doc, I'll go to you first here. Was this season a success or disappointment for Mark Williams, and what do you see from him next year? What jersey do you think he's going to be wearing next year?
I don't know, but I don't know what jersey he's going to wear, but I know that this season was a huge success for him because, I remember you and I were like, especially me, I think I was calling him a ghost. I was calling him a myth and a legend and like, oh, we hear about this guy, but I've still never seen him. And then all of a sudden, man, he returned to action and played and was pretty much a rock star every time he stepped on the court last year. So it was a huge success. He went from being an invisible man that no one had really ever seen since he was at Duke to really having a fun half of a season last year. He only played in 44 games, I think. Started in 41 of those, but 15 points, 10 boards, over a block, 2.5 assists, almost a steal. I like Mark Williams. I still am going to have huge trust issues with drafting him, but I feel a lot better about him now than I did a year ago, at least. So he was fun. I think he was a difference maker. People who had him and held on to him all year, really, I feel like they got paid off when he came back and played.
Well, yeah, especially in a playoff setting. I don't know exactly the games missed toward the end, but look, a lot comes down to what Charlotte's going to do next season. Like, is it going to be the same silly season all season long? And how does that work out? Like, there's a lot of what ifs built into that. But let's just say they have a somewhat normal season and they're somewhat competitive, whatever, for where they're at. They don't just completely tank it out. Couple things, like he still does not have a season under his belt over 44 games. People will be afraid to draft him. There will be value here, almost independently of what's going on. Sure, there'll be the injury risk, but you gotta kind of ask yourself, is a player at his age going to never crest 44 games again? It will probably, in terms of games played, be a win for you no matter what. One thing that head-to-head owners might not have noticed is this dude had an amazing free throw season. Like, he started his first season at 69%. Then he goes to 71.9% in his 19 games the following season. Okay, not great, but, at least somewhat improving. Well, he must have taken free throws seriously during all that time off because he jumps up to 80% this season. 80% on 3.7 attempts. So he took a major negative and turned it into a major positive. And that's maybe just the beginning of this thing. He took another, say, 3 shots a game or two plus shots per game and kept his field goal percentage up above 60%. So he took on more responsibility. He did well with it. He's got this cool free throw thing percolating. We don't know exactly what will happen with that. That's, again, 44 games is a very small sample size, but it's a lot of free throws. So who knows? Maybe he's good at it now. Everything else is in the right place for this guy. So absolutely unqualified success for him just being on the floor. He gets to talk trash as the Lakers exit stage right after that whole debacle of a trade scene. Who knows what really happened with that? So he's in a bit of a positive posture heading into next season, and there'll be a lot of risk. I think he'll be affordable on draft day. I don't know how far you want to reach for this guy because a lot went well for him in the context of the game itself. The ball was going his way, and he pretty much had carte blanche with whatever minutes he was going to play. So good season and very intriguing candidate into next year.
Internally, I say win. Externally, or success. Externally, I say a failure because the external is out of his control. It's the Lakers thing. That's an L for Mark Williams. They might have beaten Minnesota with Mark Williams. Minnesota probably, but I mean, they would have been more competitive. The season may still be, the series probably would have ended yesterday or Saturday or whatever. But the Lakers not getting Mark Williams is. I'll spare you the Doncic jokes right now, Doc, and I'll just keep it real and keep it on point here. Not having Mark Williams was a killer. I mean, you're going Jackson Hayes, and then you're going DFS, and it's like, no, none of this is even close to working. You're hitting us with backups, and they've got Naz Reid and Rudy Gobert and like legit studs out there. It's not going to work for you. Mark Williams would have changed that. And again, I'm not sitting here, they would have beaten Minnesota with Mark Williams, but there would have been a heck of a lot more in that fight. And for Mark Williams, nobody knows who Mark Williams is, right? Except us fantasy nerds. If you're a Laker, everybody knows who you are. So he missed out on all that. So just, I don't know. It's the way my mind thinks. Maybe I'm too comprehensive with that little part right there. Individually and internally, huge win. Guys, what I like about Mark Williams, I'm going to go like he's played 3 years, 9 points to 13 to 15. 7 rebounds to 9.7 to 10.2. 1 block to 1.1 blocks to 1.2 blocks. Brew, you did a great job of breaking down the free throw shooting. The field goal percentage has, changed a little bit, but it's always over 60. I just like that the arrows are pointing up with this guy. All the arrows are pointing up. And he's entering year 4 next year. I don't see that changing. And what I want, guys, is the blocks to get to about 1.5. I saw him block a bunch of shots at Duke. I'm a little surprised that we haven't gotten to the 1.5 yet, or maybe higher. It reminds me a little DeAndre Ayton. Like, are we too cool to block shots? Like, you've got the bod, you've got the athleticism. Maybe it's a motor thing. You got to have a motor to block shots. The coaches will tell me, they want to limit fouls and stay on the floor, and so they're not taking as many chances. I think that's a horrible strategy. If you can pin it against the glass, pin it against, give me that, all that stuff. Like, go block a shot. Anyway, I want 1.5 blocks from him next year. But anything else on Mark Williams? You guys ready to move on?
Nay.
He said nay. All right, so Brew, I'll get you teed up on Walker Kessler here. ADP of 84 coming into the year. Came out with an 8 cat per game of 65. Was the season a success or disappointment? And what do you expect from him next year?
Look, the season was a success because everybody was down on Walker Kessler. There was no trade market for Walker Kessler, and then there became one, I think, this offseason. Now, what Utah decides to do here, I don't know what Utah is doing. I got no clue. We'll figure it out, I guess. I think he's been on the block enough to at least think that they might want to do something with him and move him to another location. So that could be, in of itself, a huge deal for his fantasy value. So it's kind of hard to project into next season. Now, he made the jump, the proverbial jump. He made the jump that folks wanted him to make, the folks that I think most people ranked him as like a 4th round, 5th round play. Probably some concerns that the value came from blocks. So maybe he fell into the 6th or the 7th in those kinds of head-to-head settings. But by and large, during that season, he at least performed in the ballpark. The season before last, he performed in the ballpark of what he had done the year before. So at least you had some basis to say, all right, this guy wasn't a complete fluke in year 1. Year 2 kind of looked like year 1. And then as we got to here to year 3, the big difference was the minutes. 30-minute per game guy, 58 games. So he performed. And, the 2.4 blocks and the 12.2 boards and 11 points, I think it's great. I think it's something to build on. Really bad year at the foul line. So that should be a concern for folks. I mean, he had 60% in year 2, over 51% in year 1. You're thinking, okay, maybe this guy's learning. Well, no, it swung back the other direction, and it got really bad on 2.6 attempts. So the attempts were there. He just can't hit, the broadside of the barn from the foul stripe. So he will be a punt free throw guy the rest of the way, at least until probably 3 or 4 years from now, probably. And so that really does define his value for those of you who punt those free throws. But overall, I think it was just a big success.
Yeah, I feel like it was a success for Walker Kessler as well. I think Rick may. I'm really curious to see what Rick says about Walker Kessler, because I know you had him on some teams. You were relying on him to help you in the playoffs. And I remember you being like, can I even start him now? Like, is he going to show up? And that's still sort of like my overall recollection of Walker Kessler is he going to show up? Is he going to come through? Is he going to do what we need him to do? And I think part of the problem is he plays in Utah, and they are a cluster. You know what? It's very hard to trust anyone on that team, including Walker Kessler. So I actually am becoming more of a fan of Walker Kessler at this point than I used to be, but I still don't know if I trust him enough to draft him if he's playing for Utah.
All right. So, no, I'm here. I was looking up some stuff on Walker as you were talking. His season was a win to me. It was a success because they shut down John Collins and Lauri Markkanen in January.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know. It felt like January. It might have, but it was like they just like, bye. Nice knowing you. And at least Kessler kind of made it to close to the end of the year. So he did not play in the last 5 games. So he kind of died on us at the end of the championship week, right? And then nobody should play with the final week of the NBA regular season. It's just like the NFL. You don't play your championship in week 18. You don't play your championship in the NBA in the last week. You don't. There's too much in and out. It's just too weird. Silly season goes to gross season. It's just not cool. So Kessler really, like, you got to the championship round and then he died on you. He played 1 game during championship week. He was good, 11-12 with 2 blocks. But, like, not a huge win, guys, okay? But just the fact that he wasn't shut down simultaneously with Markkanen and Collins registers as a little bit of a win. For me, obviously, you guys know I had him in 30 deep. He was absolutely positively the key to my team. I had Levine and Lopez and some other good players. I had Shea. I mean, obviously, I had the best record in the regular season. Didn't win it all. Again, we'll come right back again next year and knock on that door. But Walker Kessler, love the blocks. He's a 2.4, 2.4, 2.3. You're my guy right there. An 11-point, 12 rebound double this year. Played 30 minutes a game, way up from the 23 he got the first 2 years. This is all big win stuff. Like Will Hart, I don't know what the difference was. Like, why were they 23 minutes a game and why this year was he unleashed up to 30 minutes a game? I always thought they were dumbasses for not playing him more. Maybe as a rookie, okay, you're finding out who he is. But that second year to only play 23 minutes, I mean, shoot, we talked about it a lot in these fantasy spaces, right? Walker was a huge disappointment last year because of that. But this year he had the pop, and I say it was a big success.
Yeah, 2 years ago, something with a elbow injury. It was very shady. There wasn't a lot of reporting on it. And, who knows what happened there.
And then they shut him down. And then they shut down. He played 64. Wow. I actually, this is surprising to me. He played 58 games this year. 64 the year before, 74 the year before that. I would have said he played, if you said 64, 58, I would have flipped that. It felt more like he played 64 this year and 58 last year, but who knows and who cares. All right, let's move on to Jalen Duren here. Doc, you go first. He came in with an ADP of 54, came out with an ADP based on 8 per game rankings of 79. Based on that, that's a 25 spot fall, but I ask you, season of success or disappointment, and how do you see Duren heading into next year?
I feel like it was a season of success for Jalen Duren. I'm not really a Jalen Duren guy, or I haven't been in the past, and I don't know that I saw anything this year that made me think I need to be sure to jump on that bandwagon and make sure I get him on all my teams. But I do like him. The fact that he was able to do what he did, having other centers hovering around him, Isaiah Stewart and whatnot, trying to steal some of his mojo, yet he was able to do what he was supposed to do is a good thing. 78 games is a win. And I think he's one of those guys that's only going to get better going forward. He only scored 11.8 points, right? He scored 13.8 the previous season. So his scoring was down and his rebounding was down a little bit. But he played a lot of games. His free throw shooting hung in there. His field goal percentage was off the chart, almost 70%. And he got the 1.1 block. So I don't know that it was a huge success, but it was, I would say, a successful year for Duren.
Yeah, I'm actually more happy with the reality aspect for Duren, because that probably bodes well for him in general. There was, after a 0.8 block season last season, and everything that happened in their 14-win season, it felt like, could he defend was a question out of even the most brightest minds in Detroit basketball. And so you fast forward to this season, and he did exchange some of his rebounds for blocks. He did get more fouls. He played a little bit less minutes, so he was a little bit more unleashed. And I think adding offensive players to the Detroit squad kept him in a better, more defined lane. This is something of the JB Bickers staff, attitude toward coaching, where he got a little bit meaner, a little bit nastier, shot 69% from the field instead of 61, a little less attempts at jump shots, and just really just tightening up that defensive game. And if he can do that, then he'll stay on the floor going forward. At his size, you have to be concerned in today's NBA that he can, in the regular season, be put out on an island and pick and roll, and that can become detrimental to the team. So that not happening, and him being as good as he's been and being as consistent as he's been on offense in a playoff setting as well, he's got a lot of great things going for him. And the fantasy value was iffy. He didn't meet his ADP. That's fine. We backed Duren last year, or the year before, not this last season. And, that generally worked out for us, but at least he's not dead to me. And I thought that might be the case that after this season, I thought it could be the case. Not dead to me, but like, you're just not going to hang out there very long.
My answer here is mixed, but I'm not, I'll get off the fence. It's definitely not a failure. I think it was mildly disappointing from Jalen Duren. And I do like the uptick in blocks. There was an uptick in steals as well. He was at 1.8 with stocks, up from 1.3, which was a pathetic number last year. Like, that's a you're dead to me number. Like, if you're giving me, me obsessed with defensive stats, you're a big with that body, and you're giving me 1.3 stocks? What the hell, dude? But down 2 points per game, down 1.3 rebounds per game, no bueno. Down 2.2 shots per game, down 3 minutes per game. No, that's not, like, that's year 3 for a 21-year-old dude. Those numbers should not be going down. They should be static, or they should be going up. Isaiah Stewart pinched him a little bit this year. Stu had a pretty good year off that Detroit bench. And frankly, it wasn't like a true timeshare, but there were some games that look kind of timeshare-ish when you're peeking at that box score and you see Isaiah Stewart with more goodies in the line than Jalen. That usually wasn't the case, but it did happen. Anyway, I say a mild disappointment from Duren. And I want him to build. I love the point you made, Brew, about adding scores got him more in a defined lane. I think that was a really excellent point. I think that's a big reason why the stocks went up, right? Jalen, we need more D out of you. We need more rim protection, all this kind of stuff. So build on that. Get back to, like he was at 14 and almost 12. Okay. And that was in 29 minutes. So I'll give you 29 minutes, bro. Go give me, 14 and 12 out there. So I do think we'll get more from Jalen Duren next year. And he is back on my radar because of the 1.1 blockers. Last guy here, fellas, Christian Braun, ADP of 133 with a end season value of 82. It's about a 50 spot hike for Christian Braun, who was fabulous this year. Brew, you first. Success or disappointment, and how about next year for C. Brown?
Unqualified success. Just purely on the fact that this dude shot 58% last season. This last season. That's crazy. It's crazy for a guard to do that. Yeah, he plays with Nikola Jokic. Still crazy. Doesn't matter. It's crazy.
Wait a minute. Whoa. He shot. He had his field goal percentage was 58%.
Yeah, 58%, dude.
I bring that up. Like, you guys know, I don't care about the percentages. Like,
but yeah, no. I mean,
oh my God, it's 58%. That's incredible.
It's absurd, right?
It's absurd for a guard.
It's absurd, and it wasn't like he didn't earn it. Like, okay, some guys maybe just get like all dunks or something, but this dude takes and makes a lot of tough shots. He takes high leverage 3-pointers. They trust him. He goes into the lane when it's maybe somebody else is a big name player's shot, and he takes that shot. And he's not shooting a ton, 10.5 times a game. He shoots 3 threes a game, so that 3-point rate's not absurd, but it's not nothing. And he hit 40% of those. He hit 82.7% from the foul line. So these are things in the head-to-head format you might not be feeling, especially consider the volume so low. But he did get you the 15 points. He got you the 5 boards, 2.5 assists, 1.6 combined defensive stats. That's not nothing. And it played all season long. And he played 79 games. He was there for you every single night. Had a couple lulls in there when the team got full. But, I mean, this dude's a baller. I mean, you're seeing it in the playoffs right now. That's one of the reasons it's hilarious that Denver is a 40-1 dog to win it all, because their first 5 or 6 guys are kind of like a pack of piranhas sitting there looking at you. And I don't know who the better team is. When I'm looking at them and somebody else, that's not 40-1 territory.
Good point, man.
One of the most underrated fantasy players there is. He shot 49.5 his rookie year. He shot 46 the year before last, and then this season he shot 58. Like Bruce said, he's a shooter.
Staggering.
He's not necessarily a dunker. His free throw percentage has gone up from 62 to 69 to 83 year after year. That is incredible. And if you want to win percentages, this is a guy you want on your team. And I've been a Christian Braun guy since the day that he threw a monster dunk down in the face of Rudy Gobert just because he wanted to. Nobody's scared of Gobert anymore, especially Christian Braun. And that dunk helped his field goal percentage be where it is today. So
that dunk Christian is Braun. Worth 10 percentage points right there.
I don't know if I looked at the final voting for most improved, and we talked about, like, you had Zubac, you had Daniels who won it. I didn't think Dyson should have won it, but okay. I had him as DPOY. I still kind of can't believe K didn't win MIP for that year he just had, first time All-Star. It's like the voters completely left turned off of how they usually vote on that award. That was very weird to me. Christian Braun to me needed just more love, votes, whatever for that kind. Dude, I mean, he doubled his scoring from 7.3 to 15.4. Huge shout out to the recently fired Calvin Booth, who nailed that one. Now, I would have wanted to bring KCP back and had Christian Braun maybe in that bench role, and he still would have made improvements, right? But we got the pop with KCP lifted and sent to Orlando. And you guys talked about all the statistics. The one stat for me that's got me hung up on Christian Braun and will probably keep him from being a Cam guy, because I understand the percentages and, like, his stat set isn't really, it doesn't marry with mine. It just doesn't. He's not a big board or assist guy. He's not a defensive stat guy yet, and he's not a 3-ball guy. So we got issues here, okay? I love him in reality. I'm not crazy about him in fantasy. He's gone from 0.4 to 0.8 to 1.1 threes. There was a time when Michael Malone told this guy, don't frickin' shoot a 3, okay? And now, of course, he's a 40% guy. I want to see them unleash that 3-ball game a little bit next year. Let's get the field goal percentage down to 52 or 53. Let's get the 3-ball percentage up to 42. Let's get the 3-ball game up to 2.5. Okay. And now we're talking about a complete fantasy player. But for me, he's not a complete fantasy player right now. Very light in the fantasy gold. The PRA is 15, 5, and 2. Which is relatively common. So that's where I'm at with Christian Braun. But I'm expecting more next year. All right, fellas, let's talk a little playoffs here. And again, this is from the helicopter looking down, okay? You can go anywhere you want, reality, fantasy. We're just talking playoffs here. roundtable style. It's Rick Kamla, Hall of Famer Steve Alexander, the legendary Aaron Brewski. We are the Fantasy NBA today. Let's start with New York and Boston, fellas. Ding, ding. It starts tonight, game 1 at TD Garden. Doc, you go first, man.
Boston's favored by 9.5. I am riding the Knicks plus 9.5 all day on that. Dude, if New York can stay healthy, I think they can hang with Boston. Everybody's like, oh, but Boston was 4-0 during the regular season. Well, one of those was an overtime thriller. Another one was the opening night game of the season when neither team, well, the Knicks didn't know what they were doing. That was back before what's his face? Why do I want to say Stan?
Are you thinking about the Cat Randall Dante trade?
the coach of the New York Knickerbockers. Freaking
Stan Van Gundy. Yeah, Stan Van. Yeah.
Well, no, he's not the coach of the Knicks, though. The current coach of the Knicks. Tibbs had not figured out
Stan, as we're calling him for the rest of the time.
Tibbs had not figured out his 6-man rotation as of opening night. I think
that's true.
I think the Knicks match up pretty well with the Celtics. I think this is going to be a better series than anybody is giving them credit for. And if Cat is able to do what he wants, and if Derek White somehow cannot stop Jalen Brunson, I think it's going to be a really good series. I think the Celtics are going to win it, but the Celtics being favored by 9.5 going into game 1 seems a little disrespectful to me.
I won't touch this line because I am worried that New York, with the time off, I think it was 3.5 days or something, they do get a little bit of their superpower back. But here's the problem that I have with it is I do think Derek White can cover Jalen Brunson. We've seen Jalen Brunson have kind of this duality about being super good in the playoffs and making plays and doing all the heroic stuff. But for large stretches of games, it feels like it's okay that he's for the other team. It's okay for the other team that he's taking on so much of a heavy load. If he's taking on so much more usage, they've got long defenders that can kind of get in the way of the passing lanes. And it just feels like everybody stands outside and watches him struggle to get an advantage in the first 14 seconds of the shot clock. So that's problem 1 for New York. I think Cat against Porzingis is great. You know, if you're playing Boston, you need somebody who's 7-footish to go out on the perimeter and hang out with Kristaps Porzingis. Because if he's not all the way connected, that dude will just sit there and shoot threes from 3 feet beyond the line, and he will crush you. The minute Porzingis gets going, everything works for Boston. So they've got a prerequisite checked off here that they need. The only problem is now you've talked about 2 New Yorkers, and they've only got 2 or 3 more New York guys that can be competitive in this series. And Boston has about 8. And some of them are very, very good. If it's not Derek White, it'll be Drew Holiday taking on Jalen Brunson. And you're really asking Josh Hart and Mikal Bridges to be superhuman against one of the better defenses that we've ever seen. And so tonight, I do think if there's a night to get a bet in, on New York, it's tonight to where they strike early. Boston's still probably playing things a little bit lightly, not quite ready to be punched in the face yet. And maybe that's what happens here tonight. I'm staying away from this game, and I think that New York has no chance in this series.
No chance. Wow. So yeah. Do they win a game, Brew? Do they get swept? How are you seeing it?
1 game, 2.
Wow. So you got 4-1.
4-1. 4-1's probably my true north there.
I'm 4-2. Doc, what are you? I got Boston 4-2. I think New York will win a couple, and I think we'll go 6 here.
I like 4-2. I have a question for you guys. Rick, I know you probably have a take on this game, but also, who's the best player in this series?
Oh, that's a great question.
Oh my God. Yes. Wow. Jason Tatum's the best player in this series.
Are you sure Are you sure it's not Jalen Brunson?
I'm not, but here's why I say Tatum. Dude, it's a phenomenal question. Okay. You hit me with that one, right?
Yeah.
You set me back. Jason Tatum has a championship. in the NBA. Jalen Brunson does not. And so that's why. And Brunson hasn't been in the league as long, has not been on that stage. And I think he would deliver if on that stage too. But Tatum has done it. So for that reason, I say Tatum.
Look, Mikal Bridges can cover Jason Tatum. So there is that. And Josh Hart can probably do a decent job on Jaylen Brown. So there is that. But the best player in the series, man. I almost said Karl Anthony Towns. Jason Tatum.
Carmelo Anthony.
Man, Jason Tatum for me is all sorts of like overrated, but I'm coming around a little bit. Like it's taken me 3 years, but I can't get with it. I kind of feel like he takes advantage of the rules. He's an unethical scorer. So many choke jobs. Choke jobs until he had an all-star squad.
I love this
around him.
Wow, we have not gone down this road. We have
not.
I have not heard. Dude, I haven't heard anybody bang on Jason Tatum like that.
Karl Anthony Towns, okay, I could keep going with that, but like Karl Anthony Towns early in the playoffs kind of to me exercised all the demons. Like, okay, stupid fouls. Okay, we haven't seen so much of that. Kind of like choking in high leverage situations. Like he was doing the opposite. I think
like you mean like that free throw he missed? What game was that? Late in the game, and it like almost airballed. It was the second free throw, like 20 seconds left. You guys remember that shot?
This is Cat.
It was so choky. It was it was game 5. Wait, who was the higher seed? It was game 5. Anyway, keep going. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Look, I don't know if he's completely healed from his choke artist ways. Like
I don't think he is.
I faded Cat in fantasy this year. I faded Cat in general after the trade. I was just kind of in awe of the fact that playing with Tibbs and playing with this crew seemed to unleash his inner beast, and he's out there kind of barking, taking high leverage shots, doing the right thing. And but I mean that all went away against Detroit because they went to the Jalen Brunson show. And I'm sorry if Cat's not scoring 25 points with 10 plus boards and 5 assists and doing that thing, they got no chance. So to me, that would be priority 1 if I'm the Knicks, is get Cat going. Jalen, you can kind of come in whenever you want, but like make sure Cat gets going, and then the other 2 guys have to score. Hart and Mikal, they got to go for nearly 20 points a game each for this to work out for them.
I said on the NBA show, Sports Ethos NBA show with me, Rick Kamla, earlier today, you guys can check it out on Twitter. I said what you just said, Brew. Cat 20 and 10 is not going to do it. He's got to go 24 and 12. You said 25 and whatever. But yes, he's got to be fat in this series. No shrinkage, no Harden-esque Cat. He's got to be Jokic-esque Cat. So yeah, I'm on Celtics in 6. We'll get to the ATS here in a minute. Let's talk about the other series tonight here. I know, Doc, you already said you are on New York plus the 9.5. How about Denver and OKC? Who did I go to first last time? Because I can't remember. Because it happened like 2 minutes ago, so of course I can't remember. All right, Doc, give us the helicopter view here on OKC and Denver.
I don't know that I have a helicopter view. I think I've got the Thunder in 5. I think the Nuggets will get 1. This is frightening though, right? Because OKC's kind of rolled through the season and the playoffs, living up to all the hype and meeting all of the expectations, even the lofty ones that I set on them. But now they got to play playoff Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, and that is a daunting task. And I'm a little bit nervous about it, but the Thunder are the better team, and they should win. I think Denver will win 1, maybe 2 games. I'm going to go Denver in 5, or OKC in 5. I just think the Thunder are too good and too well prepared and too rested and too everything. They're going to take on all comers, and that's what the Nuggets are. They're just another team in Oklahoma City's way, on a way to a championship.
So hold on a second. You went from nervous to confident really fast right there.
They make me nervous.
Within the same paragraph, dude, you went from like your to like extreme confidence all in the same. That was amazing, dude.
Yeah. It makes me a little nervous, but not that nervous.
But not that nervous.
That's like a self-help seminar in there somewhere.
I do not have to go see my therapist today. It's all taken care of.
I was just sitting here thinking of ways to alliterate that I am the hallelujah giver of Hartenstein Harbor. I've literally been preaching about this guy forever. Yeah, thank you. It took me a while to think of that. I've been preaching about this guy for like 5 years. And when he landed in New York, it was like, okay, these guys, they're just going to do so well because he's there. And then, of course, he did well. And then goes to Oklahoma City, of all places, the team that's most loaded in almost historically. And they did historic things. And I think this is a historic basketball squad. But I can't get last season's playoffs out of my head. I can't get the fact that Dallas was able to give it to them. I can't unforget everything that I've seen in the last 3 weeks about playoff refereeing and seeing that these things, they change in the playoffs. And so all these shots that they're accustomed to getting, especially if you want to talk about Shea in terms of like, does he work the refs or whatever, there's going to be a difference in the way this game gets played. And sitting on the other side is this Denver squad that's been there, done that. Now, and you look at matchups and you go, okay, Hartenstein, to me, presents so many different problems because he can cover so many different positions defensively and he gives a great offensive hub to run through. Okay, so Jokic can actually profile well against him. Hartenstein profiles as well against Jokic as most, but he can't stop him. He just can't stop him. And so then the question becomes, all right, well, what about Chet? Aaron Gordon, probably a pretty good defender against Chet. In terms of being able to get out there and challenge on the perimeter, slide his feet, move and whatnot. And all the way down the line, you do seem to have solutions for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They might not be perfect. Christian Braun, Russell Westbrook, you've got a big game hunter in Jamal Murray. And so like the pieces are there and you start to look at the depth of OKC and you go, well, they all can't play. So it's great that they're 13 deep, but they all can't play. So to me, it sets up that this series is a lot closer than the odds will be and the series price is. And I haven't looked into that, which I should. But Denver has the best player in the NBA, and he can do things that other players can't. And we just saw that. And yeah, it's a mess in Denver. And I've been as critical about Denver as you can be. But I got Denver in this first one in the wager pass. I just think it's going to be close. That's all I got, is that I think it's going to be close.
But you've got to go, pardon me, you've got OKC in 5.
No. I got OKC probably in like 7.
Okay, because I don't know where I got that in my head, because I'm listening to you and I'm like, wow, you are really building a case here for Denver to make this a long series. And I thought I'd heard you say 5. Okay, so you say OKC in 7.
Yeah.
I love it.
I got zero confidence that they take this series. Like I know they're the better team, and I think they've done historic. They've done something historic here in the regular season. They could be one of the best basketball teams we've ever seen, but Nikola Jokic is one of the best basketball players ever, and that might trump that.
I like it, dude. I like it a lot. So I've got OKC in 6, and Doc has OKC in 5. So we're all over the place here. I'd love to know what Andre says about this. Andre's the best producer in the biz, even though he says he's not a producer, but he's a great producer. And he's also got big opinions. He says OKC in 7. Okay, wow. He says Celtics in 4.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, Andre, you the man. But he has OKC in 7 as well. What? Okay, just a couple of thoughts for me. I love the MVP showdown aspect of this series, right? The 1 versus 2, Shea and Jokic. Like, let's get it on. You know what I mean? Like if Magic and Bird met back in the day, right? And I know they met in the finals, so it's different that way. But Magic and Bird were like winning MVP every other year and stuff like that. I just think it's super cool. that and you know it would be unfortunate if like Philadelphia met Denver in the finals, because then Joel Embiid wouldn't play in the Denver games and it'd be that whole thing, right? It would be like this faux matchup, right? Like it's Embiid and Jokic.
Yeah,
not
Joel
so
Embiid out here
fast.
catching strays in the 75th minute of the show. Shout out, Andre.
Strays, bro. Oh my God. Okay. And the Westbrook factor. If you guys thought Westbrook was supercharged against the Clippers, and he was, this is OKC. He's the best player in franchise history going back. So this is another Russell Westbrook Bowl. I think he's going to be fully activated again. And so with that, let's slide into some of these picks, man. I will give you mine here, guys, my ATS, and then Brew, I'll bring you in. And I'll make this quick. I got the Knicks +9 or 9.5 tonight. I've got the Celtics winning the series, obviously, and they probably win this game. But I've been saying it all year. Boston is sketchy at home and unbeatable on the road. And that's been a great betting angle all year long. New York is awesome on the road. They just won, was it all 3 in Detroit? I know they won at least 2 in Detroit. I can't remember if it was, that was a very like road tilted series, but they just took care of Detroit on the road. Jalen Brunson, he ain't worried about playing on the road. I actually think it makes him play a little bit better. Cat, on the other hand, I don't trust Cat. But I got the Knicks +9 tonight. I got OKC -9.5 tonight. I know a lot of people are taking Denver. You guys may be on Denver. Denver's just coming off a 7-gamer. OKC's been resting. OKC's been studying. And OKC's the best team in ball. And they drill everybody. And so I believe Denver's going to be a little bit tired here. And SGA's rested. Hopefully he gets off to a better start, because he started that last series very lousy and then got it going. So I'm presuming that he has a big-time game tonight. I would rather live bet this game than pregame bet this game. But pregame, I am with OKC -9.5. So, Brew, who you got ATS tonight?
Denver +9.5 for all the reasons I said earlier. I actually limped in with that bet, and even a couple others that I'll talk about in tomorrow's show. Just the things you said. It's like the game 7. It's, you know, it is an absolute, you know, it's a recipe for disaster. It's got a lot of problems with it, but I actually alternatively just love the underdog in game 1 as a general principle. So those kind of things offset. So I will take the Denver +9.5, and then I would get on in and try to get some money on Denver in both the series and also in the overall in the finals. You're not going to go crazy with it, but +4,000. I mean, you're not going to get a better price on these guys for probably the rest of the series. If they go down 2-0 in OKC, they'll probably still have a similar number compared to what they have right now. And so you can only improve. But if they win, if they take a game, they take game 1, all of a sudden those odds are going to go to crap, because people are going to kind of go, oh, yeah, Denver can win it all, and you'll lose out there. So that would be my advice here on this year's show.
I like it a lot.
I've got the Knicks +9 or 9.5, whatever it is, and I've got Denver +9.5. I like both of those teams getting all those points tonight.
Man, I got to do, okay, so I had Coach James Young on, he's with Sports Grid. He came on the NBA show with me today, and he enlightened me to a couple of bets. He was talking about, he loves Denver +2.5 games. Andre, was it 2.5 or 1.5? But essentially betting against a 4-1 series. I think it was 2.5. And so if you want to say, OKC -2.5, then you think they'll win, 4-1 and win by 3. So anyway, like, I mean, Brew, you got Denver winning 3 games.
Yeah, I would be all over that bet. I don't know what the odds are. I'm
trying to look on my Hard Rock account here. I'll probably be able to find it on DraftKings, but I can't bet on DraftKings because I'm in Florida. The only way we can bet down here in Florida is at Hard Rock, and they've got all like the basic betting, but I'm not seeing, how to play the series. There's got to be a way to play the series.
Denver, let's see, Denver +2.5 games is a +125 bet. on DraftKings.
Wow, it's plus money too?
Plus money. So
there's more money coming in on folks think OKC is going to beat them 4-1.
That's right. It's a minus 150 bet to do it the other way around.
And those odds suck, especially for that. Like that's got to be like all the planets are aligned. I think Denver's going to have more to say about this series than all of that. All right, folks. We got ATS from both you guys, right?
Yeah, my clip's empty.
So let's dive into props. And Brew, you don't have any props, do you?
Nope.
Doc, do you have any props tonight?
Karl Anthony Towns will get a double-double. OG Anunoby will be over 15.5 points. Jalen Brunson will be over 27.5 points. Nikola Jokic will hit at least 2 3-pointers. And playoff Jamal Murray will be over 20.5 points.
Wow. There's a lot going on there, man.
Playoff Jamal. Okay, I like all those, Doc. I've got Brunson as well, over 27.5 points. You guys know, like, typically I really despise the star player overpriced point prop, right? And you know, this is like it's overpriced by 1 point, which I like. It's, you know, he's not at 30.5, he's at 27.5. He scores 30 basically every playoff game. So, okay, I feel like there's a little bit of wiggle room for us here. He's been 30 plus. He was 30 plus in 5 of the 6 games against Detroit. Against Osar Thompson, hello. He's a better defender than anybody Boston has. Last year against Boston, actually this year against Boston, Brunson was at 26.8 points, shot 53, 43, didn't miss a free throw. Last year against Boston, he was 27.4. So it's not like he struggles against Boston. He plays well against Boston. They have not solved the Jalen Brunson riddle. I like Brunson to go over 27.5, and it marries with my Knicks plus 9 or 9.5. I like Josh Hart over 10.5 tonight, guys. Last 5 games, he's gone 10, 6, 14, 15, 13. This is probably one of those games he plays the whole dang game. Unless Boston runs away and hides, but I don't think that's going to happen. This is going to be one of those 44-minute games from Josh Hart. He's going to get to 11 or more points. I like Derek White. Derek White's at 15.5. Through the year, he's been 17.5, 16.5. I feel like this is a little bit of value here with Derek White. In the 5 games against Orlando, guys, he went 30, 17, 16, 18, and then 8. So over this number in 4 out of the 5. You love Derek White. I love Derek White. The guy's a gamer, makes big shots. I'm over him at 15.5. Now we go to Denver, and I like Russell Westbrook. 10.5? Yeah, give me some 10.5 with Russell Westbrook. Even if OKC blows him out, guess what? He's a bench player, and that means more minutes for him, and he will continue to bring it. He's going to be trying to dunk down the mouths of every single person in Oklahoma City every minute of every game. And so I like Russ tonight over 10.5. And then finally, I like Christian Braun over 12.5. He's rolling right now. He's gone 17, 11, 14, and 21 in his last 4. And he's going to play a bunch of minutes. Like basically when Jokic is out there, Braun is out there. They're like on the court net rating stuff is off the charts. And so Jokic loves playing with him. They obviously play very well off each other. So he's going to get a lot of minutes. And I do see a competitive game tonight. Guys, but I think OKC is going to pull away at the end. I think the fatigue factor is going to hit like late 3rd into the 4th, and that's when OKC is going to separate. But that's what I got, man. Ricky props.
Hell yeah. Good luck.
Good luck to you guys too. Any other last words of advice or wisdom? Anything you want to promote before we say bye-bye to the
Shout out to the baseball guys. They are doing everything the way that you're supposed to do this. And I just really appreciate them. Their in-season fantasy pass work is stellar. The NFL guys are getting together an amazing NFL draft guide. That's going to be out some point in time in the next month or so. And then, soon enough, we'll be back on the NBA beat. And check out sportsethos.com as you will see new tools and a facelift.
Doc?
Nah, I'm good, man.
Nice.
I'm just over here making baseball moves.
Him and Stan Thibodeau just chilling.
Me and Stan.
Baseball moves. I love it.
Me and Stan.
All right, guys, stay tuned.
Tom Thibodeau. Like, why couldn't I think of his name? I hate getting old sucks. Don't do it.
All right, so we are done, ladies and gentlemen. For the great Aaron Brewski, for Hall of Famer Steve Alexander, and for Andre Lemus, the best producer in the biz, even though he's not a producer, and all of you, we love you. You're hanging out with us in the offseason. You're getting smarter about basketball and having fun with your boys. We appreciate y'all. This episode's been brought to you by Bet Online, and we'll see you soon.